Hello and welcome to this Women's Informal Network seminar for our Career and Life series on how a team approach makes a dual career couples successful. My name is Maria Magdalena Heinrich, and I am one of the coordinators of the Women's Informal Network. And just to introduce to some of you who may not be familiar with the network, what it is. The Women's Informal Network is a professional network for women in the international development sector. And it has grown quickly since 8 March 2016, from 8 to over 800 members globally, from 88 different UN agencies, as well as some international financial institutions, NGOs, governments, and universities. We have 5 chapters, one in Rome, New York, Geneva, Vienna, and Nairobi. And the purpose of the network is to promote inspiring women's leadership and to strengthen women's managerial abilities. The network does this by exchanging advice on career development, sharing best practices in work-life balance, providing informal mentoring and coaching, organizing networking opportunities, inviting motivational speakers and stakeholders to discuss relevant topics, and also serving as a focus group on policy issues that are relevant for our institutions. This event is part of our series of career and life development workshops that includes mentoring and coaching initiatives, etc. So basically, in the past 5 years, we have mainly focused on women. Today, also based on the input of one of my colleagues, René, whom I like to call our women's ally, he suggested during one of our calls, have you ever done something for couples, for international career couples? And indeed, we hadn't until today. So today, we are focusing on international career couples, where both partners combine successful careers with international mobility. A paradigm that is familiar to many employees of the international organizations and NGOs. International mobility brings great opportunities, but what is the impact on the partner and on their career? So today I have the great pleasure to welcome Dr. Paul Van Der Brook, who has an extensive background of managing talent in complex organizations and as a leadership expert. Through living in an international environment and working with international professionals, as well as being part of an international career couple himself, he is living the inspiration that led to the Here We Are handbook that we will hear about today. Welcome, Paul. And also here with us, I have the pleasure to welcome Jannie, Aasted, Skov-Hansen, who is an experienced human resources professional specialized in global people mobility and leadership development. Currently based in Denmark, previously she moved with her partner to Nepal and Kyrgyzstan. This move incubated the idea that resulted in the development of the Here We Are global network. In their book, Here We Are, the International Couple Handbook, which I have read recently and very much appreciated, they bring together insights and learnings from interviewing 30 successful dual career couples across the world and combined this with their substantial HR experience. I have to say that it was quite an experience to read through the book, and it allows to start reflecting on your own situation and wishes and dreams. So basically today, in this 90-minute interactive session with breakout discussions, we will explore why the careers of 2 partners benefit from a joint strategy. Basically, if you're a couple that wants it all, 2 brilliant careers and the happy ending of they lived happily ever after, then this is the right place for you today. Why the key of success is a team approach, and why are dual career couples an opportunity as opposed to a risk for organizations. So for those people here in the call who are HR experts and listening in on behalf of your organization, we will also hear from that perspective. So now, without taking any further time, I would like to hand over to Paul and to Jannie. Please, very welcome. And over to you.
Thank you very much, Marlena. We are very pleased to with you all this evening. And what we're going to do is we will tell you a bit about our research, and we're going to do an exercise, as Marlena said. But before that, and before telling you a little bit more about who we are, we first want to know a little bit about you and why you're here. And for that, we have constructed a little poll, which we're going to launch now. So you see the question. Thanks for choosing the answer that is most appropriate for your situation.
Okay, even if you are single, it's good if you participate, because you may in the future end up in a relationship with someone and you still want to explore the opportunity to go abroad, right? So we have 29 out of 33 participants who completed the poll. Please, a couple more. Can you see the results? I have shared the results now.
That's great. So we have an overwhelming majority of people who are in the situation themselves, and then some other professionally interested, and one or two people who are preparing themselves for the future. And in this regard, you can never start too early. So it's a great idea to be here as well. Now to get ourselves into what we are talking about, I'd like to share a short video clip from a movie. It's called Revolutionary Road. And you see a couple having conversation, and in that conversation, most topics which are relevant for us tonight and what we address in our book are being discussed in that clip. So I'm going to share that now. And so, as you saw in this little clip, a number of things which are being discussed, which are important. There's a vision about going someplace, a life together. There's a discussion about practical things. There's discussion about motivation, about careers. There is a conversation in a couple. There's also discussion about an identity. We are special. All those things which are quite relevant in such a situation as where this couple found themselves. And we're going to go into that this evening. Now, one small detail. You saw Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet here. And you may have seen them before in another movie where they also are playing a couple. Now, the thing is, if the two of them play a couple, you get fantastic romantic scenes, as you know. The thing is, it always ends in a tragedy, unfortunately. So that happens in this movie too, if you haven't seen it. It's called Revolutionary Road. However, your couple doesn't need to end in a tragedy, and that's what we are here for today. What we're going to do is share a presentation, which Jannie and I will present and give you a bit of a feel of what we found in our research and the solutions that we have developed. So we're going to give you some insights or findings and do a little exercise, as I said earlier, and talk about next step, but we'll start with a bit more detail about ourselves.
Yes, Paul, and this is you. Here you are. Let me share a bit about your journey and why we decided to write this book together. So you are Dutch-Swiss. Your nationality is Dutch-Swiss. You are a father of two. And then several experiences have brought you here where you are today. So all in all, more than 15 years in HR in various multinationals. You have been an expatriate yourself. Right now you are living in Italy because of your wife's job in Rome. Then this is your second book. You also wrote a book about leadership strategies for women. You are passionate about women leadership. So I dare to call you an expert in that. Then you are also a coach and career consultant. You are teaching at business schools and passionate about developing human potential. So there are quite many interfaces between us, right? And the two of us met through a network connection. So this is also a cue for us that we really believe in the power of networking, right? So you can share a bit about me.
Yeah, so a bit about Jannie, as you can see there are some things which we have in common and other things which makes us complementary and which brought us together to write this book. So Jannie is married and mother of three from Denmark, where she is now living again with her family after having had two periods abroad in Nepal and Kyrgyzstan as a traveling partner. And Jannie too has a career in HR. She's specialized in mobility, so sending people to other countries, something which the audience today is probably familiar with. She's also partner in an international career couple with her husband Thomas. And she has lived also the book in the sense that when abroad, she developed her competencies, among others, by being the president of a new international school. And interestingly, now back in Denmark, she's leading a project to build and set up the first international public school in Denmark. So it's an example. So how you sow the seeds of your career at some point, and then you harvest them later. Now, what are we talking about today? Perhaps it's helpful to distinguish between the different types of couples. So there are couples where there's only one person bringing in the money, so to speak. Then there are also couples where there are both partners work. What we're really talking about here today is the dual career couple, which means where both partners are committed to two careers. It's not just about the money, but it's also about careers, which is important in the life and the life satisfaction of the individual. And in a dual career couple, there are two of them. In an international career couple, it's that dual career couple, which on top of that is internationally mobile. When we compare these different couples, so from the couple where there's only one person having a job up to the international career couple, then what differentiates these couples is the complexity. The more you have two careers to deal with in a couple, the bigger the need for career management. And if you add mobility on top of that, then of course with an international career couple, that mobility has a higher importance. And that makes these couples, dual career couples, and particularly international career couples, very complex. And many find it difficult to deal with this complexity. And what then you see often happen is that there's a compromise being made. Either there's a compromise being made on the mobility, in the sense of, well, we can't have two careers if we move abroad, so let's stay in the country where we are. Or there's a compromise on the career. One of the two people who says, well, let me take a step back permanently, and we become a single career couple in order to stay together and be able to go abroad. Or a compromise is made on the relationship. The divorce rate among dual career couples is higher than among other couples. So it's quite a challenge. And on the other hand, we see more and more of these dual career couples, and particularly international career couples. And why is that? There are three trends which play a role here. One is globalization, people moving around in greater numbers. Now, COVID, of course, has put a temporary stop to that, but people will continue to move around. And if you look at the organizations you work for, helping people in need has never stopped anyone from crossing a border. So even with there are risks and dangers, people will move abroad to do humanitarian work. And then there are other trends, like, for example, in Europe, you have the Erasmus program, where students have the opportunity to do a semester abroad. And that has increased the taste for moving around internationally more and more. And then when these people, as often the case, meet somebody else from a different country, then they have to ask themselves the question, so what happens to our careers, and in what country are we going to continue our careers? Then the other trend is more and more dual careers. There is a tendency for people to more and more to have a partnership with somebody who has the same lifestyle, the same career opportunities. So people coming together already having a career. In some locations in the world, if you want to have a certain lifestyle, it's necessary to have dual careers, otherwise you cannot finance that lifestyle. And then thirdly, talking about the women informal network, more and more women having a career, and that's great, more gender balance and leadership, but that also means that more women are being developed internationally or being sent abroad internationally to do a job. Now, reality has it that a woman with a career tends to have a husband with a career more than the other way around. So more women going abroad means also more dual career couples going abroad. And to come back to the challenge I mentioned earlier, that increases the complexity in a certain way, because statistics also show, as we mentioned in our book, that as soon as a woman gets promoted above the level of her husband, the chances of divorce increase. So let's have a look at the research we did. So we surveyed and interviewed 30 international career couples, and we looked for broad diversity in nationality, careers, and so forth, but also in the type of couple, what you see here. So we try to have a mix of couples, some more junior couples who have been together only recently, as well as couples who've been together for more than 15 years and have moved around a few times. One part of an important premise of our research is that we wanted to look for what works. There's hardly any research on international career couples. There is some research on dual career couples, and generally that research has been looking for what goes wrong, what are the problems. So we want to have another perspective and want to look for what works, what are the success factors. And just to prove the point here, you see that the couples we have interviewed all were satisfactory or more than happy with their life thus far. And that means if you take their personal life as a couple and their professional career altogether. Not easy, again, speaking about the challenges, because in the 2 years that we did this research, we lost a few of those couples on the way who participated in research, so to speak, because they came to us and say, sorry, we can no longer participate because either one of them had given up the career or they had split up. So we've seen also in real life with the research how challenging this is. Now, what did we find based on that survey?
Yes. So Paul, we wanted to find out what works, like what makes couples feel that they have a successful life together. So there's an existential perspective to this, right? As well as this career perspective, the HR angle to it. We had in-depth interviews with 4 couples, and I'd like to just share who they are. So Kashaf and Zaroon are a South Asian couple. They have been posted to both East Africa and Central Asia. They have a background in an international NGO, HR and finance, and they have 2 children. And actually, Kashaf and Zaroon are is our case couple that we follow through our book and where we apply our strategic tools. So this is a key item of our book. John and Martin are Australian-European couple. They are now based in Australia and have a background in finance and then in children's psychology. So there's an element of enterprise here. So there's also a startup couple here, as they have built up their joint clinic, but with one of them as a practitioner and the other one being more of a back end in Australia. Antonella and Sergio is a Southern European couple from 2 different countries, now based in Scandinavia. So they are a young couple, no children yet. And they have a background also in the startup world, and one of them is a PhD. So that's Antonella, works in pharma at the moment. So they are quite interesting in the sense that they really have supported each other in also finding their feet in a new country. That is Denmark as we speak. Celia and Tim is a Scandinavian couple posted with a private company to Singapore, South Asia. And they both have a corporate background, so in HR and in operations, supply chain, etc. And they moved there with 2 children, and they have quite some interesting perspective also on what made their decision, how they made the decision to move to Central Asia and what their long-term vision is. So speaking with these couples and the 30 couples that were more part of the quantitative side of our research, we found that seeing your international career couple as a team is vital to sustaining the couple over time. So this team a concept that you see yourself as on the same team is really important. International mobility is the most significant potential risk factor for career satisfaction of the following partner. So there is this risk for the one partner being left out when you take an international move. And you could argue that national mobility is equally challenging, but in our research we have looked at international career couples. Yeah. And then there's also a time factor here, that the most significant challenges are faced in the beginning of the relationships and when relocation decisions arise. So that's one of our key findings, that it's really crucial that you have important conversations before you actually have to take an actual relocation decision. So this was another finding. Cooperation and mutual support of the 2 partners' careers sustain an ICC in the long term. So this idea of not your career or my career, but that we work together to sustain 2 careers was a very important finding in our conversations, in our research. And then it's important to also know where you want to go. But equally to have a mutual understanding of how you get there. So this mutual support and really having a strategy for where you want to basically end up at the end of your career is important. And that's what we also propose in our book, and we'll show you a strategic tool in a moment, and you'll get to work with it. And then I guess this last finding, or one of them, is that children does not influence the career success of ICCs. So that's maybe a relief to many, that there are ways to go about the logistical challenges of being a family, having children. It does not affect the career success of the couples we interviewed. So these were some of the key findings, and Paul, you can look at the critical success factors for success of the ICCs, yeah?
Yeah, we're looking at these findings objectively and looking for some commonalities and trends. We came up that there are really 3 success factors that are really critical for the success of international career couples. And success meaning that you are stay together and have 2 careers, but also that way of living, including mobility, is sustainable over the long term. So one is to have a shared vision, which can mean some point where you want to end up later in life. It can also be the lifestyle you want to lead. To give an example, so the couple we follow, particularly Kashaf and Zaroon, as Jannie mentioned, their vision has been to make sure that their children do not have to take care of their parents in old age. And they found out that through international mobility, they could realize that vision better than by not being mobile. And so that's the thing that they want to achieve later on in their life, and they work to get to that vision together.
And just to add, Paul, what their vision is also to raise their children as global citizens. So that's a common perspective in their vision, right? To be independent from them and make sure that they become global citizens.
Then the other thing is to have a secure space. What does that mean? That means that can be a real place. It can be also a virtual place, a moment in time where you meet as a couple and where you know that you discuss confidentially among the 2 of you important things. It can be an exchange about work. It can be about taking stock of where you are. It can be making an important decision. But to have some place or some moment that gives you opportunity to do that. That can also be, also a ritual can be part of that. In the video clip you saw earlier on, that couple has that, the secure space. It's when they meet, and you see that also several moments in the film, after having taken a shower in their bedroom, sharing a brandy. Well, they also smoke a cigarette, but it's a 1950s movie. And so that's what we call a secure space, very important, which is for the couple to share information and take decisions. And then finally, mutual career development. Jannie mentioned that earlier. It's a critical success factor. So it's not only helping each other develop that next career step or find a job, for example, but it's actually also supporting each other throughout in a professional way to really have advice, some coaching, other ways where you can help each other to be successful in the job you're currently having. And it's important that it goes both ways. So that were our findings and our key conclusions. Let's now give you the opportunity to work with one of our tools. What you see here, it's what we call mapping your future as an international career couple, is the central instrument of the methodology we present in our book. It's a map, as it says, with several items which are important to allow you as a couple to decide on where you are going and to take the steps necessary that gets you there, and to make sure that you have the means and the resources that allow you to be successful. and each of these points on the map has an exercise, an instrument behind it, which we recommend you go through as a couple, which we won't do tonight, but that's what you can do if you work with the book. Now, what you see on this map are a number of words like stakeholders and vision and scenarios and competencies, words that you are no doubt familiar with, but probably more from your work situation than from your home situation. And that's exactly the intention. A dual career couple, in particular international career couple, is an organization. It's a small organization, but as we've seen, a highly complex organization. And to be able for that organization to be successful and sustainable in the long term, it's helpful to use things that work in organization, so at work, to use those for your couple as well. And so what we essentially have done, we have developed a few new things, and on the other hand, translated some of the methods that we know from organizations and make them applicable to your couple situation. So that, as we say, instead of just managing your couple, you're able, as two leaders in your couple, to actually lead your couple to long-term success. Now, the exercise, what we're going to do, we're going to give you an example of a worksheet, which we provide with the book, which shows you this map and some explanations. And of course, it takes more time to work with it thoroughly, so we're going to do a snapshot of this this evening. We'll share that instrument in the map, and we'd like you to have a look at it and analyze your couple situation. And you can either use with colors if you have that ability. Otherwise, you can just perhaps tick or cross. But what we would like you to identify is what are the questions, so to speak, you have answered. So, for example, you are clear on your long-term vision or not. And what are some of the things you still need to answer in culture? What are you not clear on? Are you clear on your identity, or do you know what supporters, what resources you have to help you to become successful, or to help you realize that next move to another country? So we give you some time individually to do that analysis. You have also some explanations on that worksheet. And afterwards, we'll put you in pairs. So you will work with one other participant here in this webinar. And then I would like you to share some of those questions. What are the points on the map, or share one point on the map on which you would need an answer in your couple, and perhaps help each other in how you could best find that answer, so that you have another point on the map filled out after this webinar. And after that, we'll come back and have a further discussion, and there's also the opportunity for you to answer questions. Let me stop sharing for a moment, and before sharing the instrument in the chat, I just want to make sure that everybody is clear what we're going to do now.
Well, I added the strategy map in the chat as a screenshot. So please see if you can find it.
After and the PDF I'll share as well. Just give me a sec.
And if we had been together in a big conference room and we had physical tools and everything, we could have used posters like red, yellow, green posters, like you putting it on your own couple strategy map to see, this is totally clear for us. Yellow, we need some talking here. And red, this is something we definitely need to find out together. So this is one way of working with the strategy map as well. But now it's more you reflecting and then meeting up in pairs and seeing, what strikes me as important here? What do we need to have our attention on?
So take 5 minutes individually and identify the point you want to discuss in your pair where you would need an answer on. And then we give you another 5 or 10 minutes to discuss in your pairs, and then we come back together. So I hope that everybody has been able to download the things from the chat. Yeah.
Paul or Jannie, can you please share again? Yes, thank you very much. That was a request in the chat.
Here you are.
Thank you. I believe you have 2 more minutes to fill out this worksheet on your own, and then we will create the breakout groups so that you can discuss with another person what you have put down on your sheet.
Okay, I think we're ready for the breakout group. So take some time to share with each other your questions, see how you can help each other, and then see you back here in 10 minutes, 25, to see how far you got, and then we can help you with your questions.
And please be so kind to turn on your cameras so that people are not only talking to a name and the black screen that makes it more friendly.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm creating the groups now, and you just need to click on join the breakout group. Okay, have fun. Okay, I believe there are a couple of people who have not joined their group. Helen?
Yeah, Helen wrote that she can't join because she's not in a confidential space.
Okay, so that's fine. Then I will remove her. And Britta, what's happening to you? Erin.
Hi, Marilena.
Hi.
So nice to see you.
Oh, let me interrupt the recording.
Welcome back, everyone. So we hope you enjoyed these one-on-one conversations. We find that it's always too little time with these breakout sessions, right? But hopefully you can connect, and I know Marilena will be happy to help you connect in case you didn't exchange emails or you don't know each other already. I assume a lot of you have met on other occasions in these sessions, right? So we hope that was joyful. I see we're just 16 back, so we still need some groups, right, Marilena?
No, that is it. We the numbers dropped.
It's dinner time.
Yes, probably. So we can continue.
That's perfectly okay. So without further ado, we think it's very beneficial for us to hear each other's experiences with these questions. And this is, of course, in a confidential space, meaning you just share what you feel you can share. But we really want to encourage you to also inspire each other by talking about like what was difficult with these questions, what was an eye-opener. Like we've been doing these type of exercises for quite a number of different organizations. So for us, it's also interesting to hear what makes it special for you. So would any of you like to just share what you talked about, like what caught your attention? And as Milena is writing, we'll stop the recording because then we have a more confidential space here. So thank you for doing that, Marilena. This has been truly rewarding for us because with every session Paul and I do, we take insights and we get more perspectives to our research and what we are doing together. Right, Paul?
Absolutely. No, it was wonderful. Thank you so much for your questions, your participation. We take a lot, as much out of it as we hope you have done. And yeah, let's stay in touch and see how we can help you to be happy and mobile.
And you added a link to our network, right? And our book is also mentioned on that page, and there are links to where you can find it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Yes. happy staff, productive. Yeah. Keep them
Absolutely.
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much, Jannie and Paul. It was really very interesting. And from the very vivid chat, we can see that someone even suggested to have a part 2 of this discussion. And there is definitely food for thought for many more discussions to happen. So perhaps we could think about having another go. And from my side, apart from thanking you all for your participation, and in particular, Jannie and Paul, I would like to share one takeaway that I liked very much. I think to look at the ICC as an organization, and Daniela, you mentioned it, not to analyze. You've never analyzed it in an objective manner, but I like that, and that it works best when organizational best practices are applied to it. So if we really look at it and analyze it and put labels, and then the labels can be still interpreted, no? So as Jannie, you were saying, every journey is different, every person is different, every couple is different. So definitely to be continued, either you yourself buying the book and having that dialogue with your partner and having your self-reflection if you're not in a partnership, and if you're in a partnership, and also here in the Women's Informal Network. And thank you, Chitra, also for joining and for sharing your experiences, and everyone else. So this is all. Thank you. And I wish you to stay very healthy and safe in these difficult times. And happy couples, let's hope. And best wishes in particular to those who have recently moved to a new adventure. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Enjoy.